maybe this is a direction that we could go in. Maybe we need to pay attention to what they're doing. Jeremy Corbyn and Sultana have started a new party in the UK. And from what I understand, it seems like they've already had 700,000 people at least sign up for the email list. Check it out. I think this is an inspiring story, folks.
She claimed that she, along with Jeremy Corbyn, would co-lead the founding of a new party with other independent MPs, campaigners and activists. She says that the Westminster system is broken and raises the issue of wealth inequality and the genocide in Gaza. Sultana also points out the reason she was suspended from the Labour Party and goes on to claim that Labour has completely failed to improve people's lives. She ends the statement by claiming that billionaires already have 3 parties fighting for them. It's time the rest of us have. Clearly then, there's an element of left-wing populism to this party, a rejection of the mainstream, and a promise to be a true representative of the people. Now, it's possible that Zara Sultana jumped the gun with this announcement, as Corbyn didn't publicly comment until Friday afternoon, but he put out a slightly less definitive statement, saying that democratic foundations of a new kind of political party will soon take shape, adding that discussions are ongoing, and seemingly avoiding to use the term co-lead. Nonetheless, something is clearly in the works. So what will this new party look like? Well, what we haven't really...
Pause for a second here. For those who are not familiar, Jeremy Corbyn is kind of like the UK's Bernie Sanders. That's the best way I can describe it. Except Jeremy Corbyn has called it a genocide. But Jeremy Corbyn is basically doing what many of us wanted Bernie Sanders to do after 2016, and that was to start a new party. Jeremy Corbyn has been very vocal about how disappointing the Labour Party has been and that it's not really fighting for the working people. So he's basically like, screw this, I'm going to start my own party. Now, they also have the Green Party there as well. And if we're just running the numbers through our head, imagine if the Greens aligned with Jeremy Corbyn's new party, then I would assume they would be unstoppable. I think they would stomp Labour out the water. I really do. So I think we need to pay attention to what Jeremy Corbyn is doing here, because it could be a pathway for what we could try to accomplish here in this country. Something to think about. Let's continue.
Got any specific details? We can infer a fair amount from the statements and previous comments. Sultana's announcement suggests that the aim is to bring in other independent MPs, perhaps the 5 that, like Jeremy Corbyn, were elected in 2024 as independents and went on to form a parliamentary faction called the Independent Alliance. Presumably, this new party would also hope to bring over other left-wing former Labour MPs, such as John McDonnell and Absalom Begum, who also lost the whip for voting to scrap the 2-child benefit cap.
So, do you see what they were trying to do? So they're trying to get, I guess what you would call the progressives in the Labour Party to come over and join the new party. It would essentially be the same if Bernie Sanders had started that new party and would ask people like Ilhan and Rashida to come from the Democratic Party and come over to his new party.
Or even get some defections from friendly Labour MPs, like Diane Abbott, Rebecca Long-Bailey, and others. However, leading Corbynite MPs, including Abbott, McDonnell, and also Labour's Clive Lewis, have reportedly rejected the idea of leaving Labour to join a new party. The party may also seek to bolster its ranks by looking to the local level, as in numerous councils across the country, there are groups of councillors either elected as independents or who quit Labour in frustration at Starmer's premiership. This is something that Corbyn himself referred to when questioned about a prospective new party.
There's a lot of people all around the country in different independent groups, looking Birmingham, looking Liverpool, looking Southport and so on. There is a thirst for an alternative view to be put. I'm working with all those people. That grouping will come together. There will be an alternative view, and there will be an alternative put there, which is about society that deals with poverty, inequality, and a foreign policy that's based on peace rather than war.
Would you like to lead that group?
I'm here to work. I'm here to serve the people in the way I've always tried to do.
Now, as we see it,
see the difference? He's there to work and serve the people. That's like, it's like, I feel like that's what's needed here. That's what's needed. We need that here in the United States. Our politicians need to say, we're here to serve the people, because they're not. They're happy they got a fancy apartment in DC, and then they got a home back in their home state, you know? And they're enjoying that lifestyle, and they're making money by writing books and speaking engagements, etc. But that's really what it should be about. You should be there to serve the people.
there are essentially 2 reasons why Sultana probably decided that Thursday was the right day to launch the new party. The first is that Saturday was the 1-year anniversary of the Labour government. Establishing a new party so close to this anniversary is intended as a clear criticism of the government, and allows them to highlight the failures of the government over the past year. The second is that last week was a particularly bad one for Starmer. While he managed to subdue a backbench rebellion, this was at the cost of gutting a welfare bill he'd spent weeks and huge amounts of political capital trying to justify. Not only does it now look like Labour backbenchers can push a weak Prime Minister around, it will also frustrate the scores of Labour MPs who were pushed into arguing publicly that it was necessary to deny the personal independence payment to more disabled people. Not only could these MPs become more frustrated at the government and rebel more, but they could also start to look for a political home elsewhere. Anyway, aside from any question about timing, it's important to ask what kind of impact this new party could actually have. Well, short of actually winning an election, there are lots of ways that it could influence things if it grows to a reasonable size. In the case of a hung parliament or narrow government majority, with a decent number of MPs, the party could exert influence in coalition negotiations or in the passage of legislation. As the experience of Nigel Farage's Reform UK in relation to the Conservatives shows, even if a Corbyn party only won a handful of seats, just earning the vote of a few thousand people across enough key Labour constituencies to put those seats in doubt is a way of exerting leftward pressure on Labour, whether it's over welfare, Gaza, spending, or anything else.
That's right. That's something to consider, how that pressure can be put on. And this is what I was saying, right? Like, we need something to do that. We need a wedge. We don't really have like that strong wedge right now. Now, I do understand the UK, it's a little bit different because they have multiple parties and people do vote in the multiple parties. Don't forget George Galloway was able to win in the special election through the Worker Party. But I think that even though we don't have as many parties as they do that are viable in this country, I think we can still look at what they're doing. And I'm a firm believer of not reinventing the wheel. I'm a firm believer in, you don't always have to start from scratch. Look at what has been done or is being done, and look at how you can maybe expand it or tweak it. I think a lot of times, like, good ideas just fall apart because people feel like they got to start from scratch. Like, no. We are not at the bottom of the Jenga pile. You're already in the middle because you already have a foundation that has been built, and you just need to add and build onto that. And I think this makes sense. So that's what we need. We need somebody with the balls, the cojones, sorry for those of you watching in the kids' room, with The cojones that is able to say, that's it, I've had it, I'm building my own thing, who's coming with me? Do the Jerry Maguire thing. Who's coming with me? And even if it's to the point where, like he's saying in the video, they would be able to put the pressure because they could disrupt seats just by the people who want to come over to the new party. That's what we need.
Actual numbers. A recent poll by More in Common put a hypothetical left-wing Corbyn-led party on 10% of the vote, which is a pretty decent debut. But remember, this party doesn't actually exist yet. Unsurprisingly, the poll shows that the Corbyn party would take votes away from Labour, which is down 3 percentage points in that scenario.
That right there. 10%. Remember, in this country, we want to at least try to get to 5. Right now, the percentage is showing it would get 10% from Labour. That would come from Labour. And then whoever else decides to come over as well. I think it's inspiring. I think it's something to look at. I do. And I want you to hear what Jeremy Corbyn said. He said this to, is this Owen? Yeah, he said this to Owen Jones, the problems with the Labour Party.
We've done is what? Minor reforms in terms of rights of renters, slightly rent protection, but no rent control. Some improvement in workers' rights, but no sectoral bargaining, and so on all the way through. And then rolling back against the environmental agenda, actively pursuing an increase in arms expenditure rather than promoting this. I'm not pretending the world's simple or easy out there, but if you have an agenda to go to war, as Starmer and Healy appear to do, then what do you do? Spend more and more money on weapons. This kind of gets up in Parliament saying she wants to take $5 billion out of the DWP budget, which is earmarked for personal independence payments, and Starmer wants to put $13 billion more into the arms budget. What are we about as a country? Are we going to starve and impoverish people with disabilities in order to buy more planes from the USA? That's what it looks like.
Of course, yeah, it's quite right. If you buy all those weapons, you've got to use them. Otherwise, you haven't got any more to buy. You've got to keep it going. Yeah, very dangerous economic refooting.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about what Jeremy Corbyn is saying there, you know, he's like, what are we going to do? He said, are we going to starve and impoverish people? So, you know, the Labour Party kind of reminds me, you know, the Democratic Party here in the United States, again, is just about money and corporatism, right? So some people are sitting back and they're like, uh-oh, what is Jeremy Corbyn trying to do? Is he running with the devil? No, I would say that Keir Starmer is the one that's running with the devil. Keir Starmer is the one that didn't even want to call what was happening in Gaza genocide. Don't forget the UK was sending weapons to Israel too. It's not just us. You know, like he's the one, he wants to go there and shake Netanyahu's hand. And it's not just that. It's also about the people who are just financially in a lot of trouble and they just can't get by. Yeah, we have an American dream. People got to remember people got dreams in their countries too. People in the UK have their own dream of where they want to make it and they want to have their own home as well too. That's not just an American thing. And everything continues to get more and more expensive. Now, even The Guardian had to talk about it. They said despite the chaos of its launch, Jeremy Corbyn and Sultana's new party has struck a nerve. So let's just jump down here because there's one part I want to dive into here. It says that, yet, as well as considering these weaknesses, it's also important to acknowledge that despite all the confusion and ridicule, Corbyn and Sultana's new party has struck a nerve. It says that more than 600,000 people have signed up for its remunitary website for updates and information about how to get involved. Almost as many people as the memberships of Labour, the Tories, and Reform UK combined. And some of the most hostile coverage of the new party, there is a revealing note of alarm. Something has actually gone seriously wrong with British society, wrote Camilla in Telegraph. If a party such as this could poll at 18%, the proportion who told YouGov they would consider voting for a new Corbyn-led party. It's a rebellion against the broken status quo. Yes, that's what's happening. People are rebelling against the broken status quo. They are tired of it, especially those, I would say the majority, the people who are part of the 99%. So check this out now. It says, so membership is nearly at 700,000. We can easily reach 1 million. Now that is the number of people who signed up for the email list, just FYI, but they're trying to do something different here in the UK. And I think they can. If they've already had over 700,000 people that have signed up for that party, I think they can easily reach 1 million. So let's just look into what they're doing. And I say, go from there. Look at it. What do you have to do? Say, I'm starting a new party. Here's the website. Everybody sign up. And you can see the website here. It's called Your Party UK. This is your party. It's time to build a new kind of political party, one that belongs to you. Sign up to build this party together. Soon we'll host an inaugural founding conference so you can help shape how your party works, what it stands for, and how we organize to win. Fill out this form so that your party and the new party that develops from it can update you on news, activities, and ways to get involved. So if anybody's watching the UK, well, we can put the link in the chat regardless. But this is what, you see what I'm saying? Okay, did that take long to do? No, it didn't take long to do. So I kind of like that it's your party. Your party, I kind of like that. But I think they're going in the right direction. This needs to happen. This should have been happening, particularly in this country. But I think a lot of the people in Congress, they don't have the guts to do it. They're not going to do it. They're trying to get their book deals and make their own money. They're looking out for them. It's going to take someone that's rogue. I really love